What's up, YouTube? It's Anthony Castillo. So, I wanted to give this one a little bit of a presupposition, perhaps with the intention of getting to understand a little bit of spiritual magic. I know this is a channel for spiritual liminality and liminal spaces, getting through thresholds, but it's come to my interest that other channels, and sometimes, and now I don't want to copy. I think originality is important, but I'll begin with this card here. It's called Magickal Powers. I do hold a deck of cards for like kind of learning about like magical spells and stuff like that. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I do believe that there is a form of magic out there. I think the most authentic type I would go about. However, the reason I wanted to develop this video has to kind of understand a little bit of how we weave magic into those types of things. So how we integrate or weave those, magic into spirituality with liminal spaces. They do play hand in hand with each other, particularly. So just giving you guys this card here. It's not a tarot card reading. I'm not going to go into that. There's several scientific studies on that, but also there are specific appropriate ways to do stuff like that. The reason I kind of wanted to create this like interdisciplinary viewpoint was because we all hold some magical power within ourselves. I think when spirituality is interrelated with how our spirits, the spiritual body, for instance, or the spirit, it communicates in different ways with us. It wants to present several clear indications that we are removing a lot of stuff in our life that we need to remove. And I know you probably can hear someone cutting the grass with like a weed whacker. And I love to create metaphors. I love to create metaphors. You think about a magic wand. You watch movies, and the magic wand is to remove something in our lives so that or zap something so that, or create something with the magical wand. So I was just thinking, like, this sound is like, a lot of stuff that we're holding in our lives. We really need to cut the grass for something brand new, because we're holding all of this, like, maybe possible feelings and beliefs in the past that don't really work with us anymore. And by belief, I want to be more I want to really concretely, or just tell you exactly what a belief may be. A belief could be about, like, for instance, for me, I no longer go to the bar. I no longer go out to going out and engaging with drinking with friends. Before, when I was in college, I did believe that was the college perception, the college vibe. And I did believe that was, that's what we had to do every single, I was in my 20s, now I don't want to stigmatize that every 20-year-old has to do that. I have a brother that doesn't go to the bar. He's 22. He never, ever likes, he never wants to go drinking or anything like that. And that's perfectly fine. I respect him for not wanting to do that stuff, because, it's, no one is ever to be forced to go drink, and get, whatever, shit-faced, sorry. And if you, listen to my other talk about emotional lability, sometimes there's a lot of psychological issues that we need to cut the grass, right? We need to cut the grass of a lot of things that are going on in our consciousness. And now there are some, other comparative analyses out there about the differences between someone that may have other issues and don't ever, it's that old saying, like, how can a person get cancer but never smokes a cigarette in their life, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. because I know other medical professionals have actually looked into studies about the phenomenon of those types of things out there. However, I want to stay within the context of, magical powers, right? I think it's cool. I think it's just really interesting how we can just be more creative in our expressions, and have a sense of maturity with spiritual integration, because it is going to be like trying to remove a lot of things that are still there, and some of us have to pinpoint what are those beliefs. There's nothing wrong with the bar, I would say. I'm not hypercritical or I'm not judgmental. My video of the non, I really focus on that a lot. However, there's some of us that don't believe in that. Let's say you are looking to find love or something like that, the loyal ring. Some of us are, if we're not seeing the results day in and day out from the same position there, we may want to maybe change it up and maybe have a different approach. Maybe the universe is speaking to us loud, with a, weed whacker or a magical wand that wants us to remove certain patterns that we used to be involved in. And that's perfectly fine. Once we're there, cutting every little detail of the grass or whatever, which kind of reminds me, when I was a kid, when I was young, I remember having to cut the grass or shovel the snow. It was a lot of work. But that's just kind of a metaphor for you guys to kind of interpret, that's the intention of the freedom of expressions, is that you guys interpret the way you want to see it. Everyone's going to have a different lifestyle. Others are going to have a different part of the country. They're going to be maybe in New York, in Colorado, or anywhere in part of the world. But yeah, just wanted to kind of focus on that one right there. Just kind of a, magical powers. I know that sounds a bit like, like when you watch a movie or something like that. But how do we channel spirituality with our spiritual beings? And how do we use magic to maybe even remove some of that, like, pre-existing beliefs that maybe don't resonate with us? Like, even maybe some people that, strongly believe in watching television. I gave up television, and I'm not saying nothing wrong with it. It's just not my internal belief to do it every single day. Just because I feel like I need to find myself in the midst of all of that noise, because eventually I need to turn off the noise, right? I need to turn it off because it's a lot of noise. But first I got to go through the noise to remove it all, then eventually turn it off. Anyways, guys, hopefully that just gives you guys a little bit of freedom of expression as well. Remember, I'm going to be posting more videos out there. I was just really divinely inspired by someone else's channel that kind of had like this approach. And I respect that. I respect those that believe in various spiritual practices and their knowledge. There's a lot of beautiful channels that offer scriptural, like the biblical scriptures. Now, that was not the intent here. It was never the intention for me to indoctrinate anyone, because it's not about that. It's about taking a different approach. Because those that are more trained in knowing how to do that, I would find it appropriate and responsible for a person that's going to do that, know how to probably do it, and just kind of be careful when you do it, because anyone can throw anything. Remember, I will be honest, I tried it one time. I think the first time I ever tried it was when I was reading the book of Jeremiah, and I caught myself. I was like, wait a minute. Like, I just knew that, for me, believing in the universe, I had a different direction. I had a different way of remembering, and also a different direction to take. So, leave you with that one. Remember to subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.